It's the Pete Sousa Show. Sports,
Nobody tells our stories better than our clients.
The difference is stark. I was rear-ended at a stop. I thought I was fine, and then once I got home, I realized it's a lot worse than I thought. I ended up having a ruptured disc. You say you're not hurting, and then an hour later, you're saying you're in all this pain. I just felt like most people would think that I was lying. And that's when I decided to call Daniel Stark. I owe a lot to Daniel Stark. They really got me what I deserved.
The difference is stark.
We definitely love our relationship and love Extraco. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, what can I do to help you? That made a huge difference because my stress level, when we shut down, to afterwards was night and day.
Our experience with Extraco has been phenomenal since the very beginning, so we love Extraco.
Tervis is all about staying hydrated with style and durability. You can trust Tervis tumblers to keep your drinks the perfect temperature, hot or cold, for hours. From the classic insulated tumblers to sleek stainless steel water bottles, each product is built to last and comes in endless designs to match your personality. Stay refreshed and express yourself with Tervis. Visit tervis.com today and find your perfect tumbler.
Since our founding, we've been revolutionizing hair removal with cutting-edge technology and a commitment to empowerment. The U-Like Air 3, launched in 2023, ushers in a new era of sapphire ice cooling technology, offering nearly painless hair reduction in just 3 weeks. Experience the future of hair removal today at ulike.com, because at Ulike, beauty is about looking and feeling good. That's ulike.com. Ulike. With Ease US, make studio quality voiceovers for your videos online in over 149 languages and dialects, featuring 468 natural AI voices. Customize the volume, mood, and pauses to perfectly match your content. Plus, capture high quality videos with no watermark. Record your screen, webcam, and voice, and save them instantly to your computer. Never been easier to create professional grade videos and voiceovers. Try it today at easeus.com. That's EASEUS.com. Ease US.
Just use AMP-Pace.
AMP-Pace.
All right, it is the Pete Sousa Show. We are live. That's right. We're coming to you. Actually, I got to get out of this. I was trying to do something on my phone here. Show related. So we'll pause on that. All right. We're in Philadelphia, Villanova, Pennsylvania, to be exact. You can see right here, we're in my childhood room, or one of the rooms I spent time in as a child. How about that? You've got old school football pictures. You've got my University of Richmond degree. All of which mean nothing right now as far as my ability to convey what's going on in the sports world. But we're going to do it, and we've got a lot to get to. We got Matt Mosley coming up in the second segment. Bro, get that shot. Hey, hold on. Bear the Truth says get that shot of that poster over there. Hey, man, that's it. That's the big guy, okay? Now, unfortunately, we don't zoom in here because we're at home, and I'd have to get my mom up here to be the camera person. But But yeah, we got all kinds of old school show and tell stuff here. Slovacic keeps us going. Scotty Swingler back in the home base in Central Texas in the Alico building, making it all happen on the wheels of steel. Again, Matt Mosley coming up in our second segment. And he did a great Doomsday podcast. And he was joined, of course, by Ed Werder. And they talked to Matt Eberflus for a good half hour. And I can't say enough about the podcast. You just go listen to it yourself. It's on the Rogue Media Network. And stay tuned because I'm going to talk to Matt about Matt Eberflus and about the Cowboys coming out of these mini camps. I mean, Eberflus said it a couple times when they talked, and this is just a number that jumped out at me. 40 days, dude. Like in 40 days, they will be back at the Star, like gearing up for training camp. Like, how cool is that? We're there. I mean, we're 40 days away from being there, and I love training camp too because that's the point when we just get nonstop football 24/7. Right now, we are coming to you live thanks to the Rogue Media Network. And, of course, can't forget Crawford Austin Properties, our good friends there, Socorro Family Ford, Daniel Stark Injury Lawyers, Extraco Banks, everybody on board that makes this possible. I want to start with, and by the way, last block, we're going to talk to Kevin, our Pacers guy. And he's going to get us the whole lowdown on tonight's Game 5, where the Pacers are a 9.5-point underdog, and they're going to be looking for SGA. The Thunder is, because that game on Friday was one that, you know, if Indiana loses this series, I'll point to that game and say that was the one. That was the one they should have won, and they let it get away. Or you could say that SGA just took it from them, right? Because he played so well down the stretch when they needed him to. So we're going to talk more about that in segment 3. But this game on the road for the Pacers, series tied at 2-2, is a huge one. And interested to see what our boy Kevin has to say. I'm going to stay in Indianapolis. And this is such a crazy topic to me that there's really no place else for me to start, if I'm being honest with you guys about what interests me. The Caitlin Clark situation, I'm just going to go numbers for you, okay? Because we can play a numbers game with this. Off the top, you know, this is my TV news background. They used to say in TV news, they would come in, we would have these horrible, boring seminars, and they would say, new, now, next. That's how you want to give your newscast. Keep it going. Give them the fresh stuff first. So here's the fresh stuff for Caitlin Clark. Her first game back against the Liberty, where she scored 25 points in the first half, had LeBron James tweeting about her and also sending her direct messages, apparently. They beat the Liberty, who was previously undefeated, 9-0. The game Saturday afternoon on ABC, and 21 million people watched the game. Now, according to Nielsen, that is the most watched WNBA game ever. Now, this all comes on the heels of ratings being down, viewership being down 55%. I want to get this exactly right. I have this all written down here. Lucky for you guys. So this story broke last week, but I want to weave it all in as we talk about this topic. Nationally televised WNBA viewership is down 55% since Caitlin Clark's injury. Again, this was last week. Fever national TV games down 53% during Clark's injury. They averaged 1.8 million before the injury. After the injury, 845,000. Clark, the second-year star, has played in just 4 games this season. She missed the Fever's last 5. Okay, so she comes back and scores 32 points, has 9 assists and 8 rebounds, hit 7 threes. That ties her career high. And they beat the best team in the WNBA. Now, here's a couple more things from the weekend that just prove that Caitlin Clark is so popular that it's undeniable. You bring up your computer, you open it up, and I don't care if you're Terry Sousa, my mom, or Pete Sousa. Like, the Caitlin Clark stuff is everywhere, and it should be. After her huge game, she tweets yesterday, which is like kind of brilliant on her part, and I don't think it was, I don't think she operates like this. Like, it's not well thought out. But the tweet is, and this is about the U.S. Open, because guys, We talked with Murph Barton about this last week. We're having a difficult time. She says, is Oakmont even fun to play? I'd shoot 130 easy. And people loved it. People love the fact that she not only is being self-deprecating, but she's watching golf, right? Like the rest of us. Then something even more interesting happened. And this was like where we get a little like into the weeds with this stuff. Her boyfriend, Connor McCaffrey, who needs to just hang on to that because he's got the bag right now. And she seems like a wonderful woman. But Connor McCaffrey is Fran McCaffrey's son. Fran McCaffrey, former coach of Iowa, now is the head coach at Penn, the basketball team. Obviously, he met her, McCaffrey did, the younger McCaffrey, when they were both at Iowa. So he tweeted, I don't know, this is the morning of her big game, her big comeback game. He said, I don't know why people still yell, go Hawks when they see me. Like, no, go Dogs, go Quakers, go Fever. He's coaching right now. I forget where he is now, but with school, I don't know. Is it Gonzaga? Anyways, he's coaching now for a team, a college team. And then his dad took over Penn, right? Go Quakers, and then go Fever. He's like a little, that's like some sour grapes, right? He's pissed because Iowa fired his dad. She's like, hey, no more. But that tweet, even because he's like kind of connected to Caitlin Clark, well, he is connected to her, that goes viral. Okay. He's with Butler right now. That's right. He's with Butler. And then, like I mentioned, during the game, LeBron tweets out, CC effect in full force. Welcome back. You were missed. And this is one game back. So I say all this to reiterate, and I think it's something that is a very real thing right now. And you can send me a tweet, send me a note, post here. Caitlin Clark is the most popular athlete on the planet right now. And I'm not saying she's the best because there's better players in the WNBA. Asia Wilson is probably the best player, hands down, in the WNBA, right? Paige Beckers has 35 points in her first game back, right? Paige Beckers, nobody's talking about that. Nobody cares. The NBA Finals, like ESPN has the broadcast rights, okay? So, of course, like they're going to open up First Take this morning at Sports Center, and it is the NBA Finals. Like that's what everybody wants to talk about over at ESPN because they're all there. I mean, you have to promote this. And it also is obviously the NBA Finals. But I'm telling you, if it were up to the rest of America, First Take opens up today with Caitlin Clark and how the ratings surged to 21 million people in her first game back, but how prior to that, there was a 55% drop off in TV ratings. Now, I am not one of these people. Like if you've noticed, and I got a bug up my ass about something that happened over the weekend, and there's some journalists out there who have got to get to the bottom of what Brittany Griner said from the bench, where it looks like she may have said, effing white B, right? Which we don't know exactly what she said, but if you don't know the situation, Brittany Griner is on the bench during a game. She, I think, had just fouled out, and she's frustrated, and she's playing Caitlin Clark. And it looks like she may have said about Caitlin Clark, effing white B, right? So, I mean, bad, whatever. If she said it, bad moment, right? But like, there are like media outlets that want to get their claws in that story and make it the biggest deal in the world, like it's Watergate. Like it's not, okay? And if you want to go back to, if you want to get into race relations, like look at the history of, underrepresented people and minorities making their way in this country. Like it's not the same. Like, just so everybody knows, okay? Just let me get that out there. And I'm a middle of the road guy, maybe lean right more than anything, but like that is super annoying. We have to get to the bottom of what Brittany Griner said. That fuels like the back and forth of like, we create this or people are creating this. People in the WNBA don't want to talk about Caitlin Clark as much as they should, and they want to talk about other stuff, and then they want to give other players a free pass when they do stupid stuff. It's not that complex, dude. It's a basketball game. Brittany Griner's pissed because she fouled out. She may have said something. And by the way, coming out of her mouth as a minority, that statement is much different than if it had come out of a white woman's mouth, right? Going the other direction. So let's just get that. I wanted to address that. I think that's complete BS. But back to the point that I made off the top about Caitlin Clark. She is the most compelling, and she is the most popular athlete on the face of the planet right now. I am going to give Scotty Swingler a chance, sitting back in our studio right now. I see him, Scotty, I'm over here. I'm back at home. I set up this beautiful studio. I have this opening rant, and it's nice because I can still see your ass shaking your head while I'm talking about this. So I just want to give you a chance because of how bright you are and how much I respect your intellect. Give me an athlete that is more popular on the face of the earth right now, an active athlete, than Caitlin Clark.
Well, if you want the honest truth, Pete, it's probably Lionel Messi, or Yamal, the new kid that's balling out in soccer right now. But
Can you turn your volume up a little? Can you turn your volume up a little bit?
Not much, but we'll work.
Okay, you're still good. I can still hear
you. It's probably a soccer player, but if we're just talking America, I'll give you Caitlin Clark. When I was,
by the way, you're right. You're right about Messi. I knew you were going to pull some soccer bullshit, but you're right.
Because it's true. You asked me a question, and I'm telling you the truth. But if you're just talking America, I think I agree with you. And I was shaking my head when you tried to qualify it by saying, "Well, there might be better players in the WNBA." No, there's not. No, there's not. She's the best player in the sport. That's why I was shaking my head. She's already breaking WNBA career records left and right, and she's 10 games into year 2. Like, we have never seen a women's basketball player this good. That's why I was shaking.
And you know what?
Head.
And I'll take it to like a weird 80s Hollywood comparison, right? And just bear with me here. In the 80s, there was nobody quite as popular in the early 80s as like Gary Coleman, right? Everybody thought Gary Coleman was this like adorable guy on different strokes. They were making Gary Coleman TV movies where he actually ended up managing the San Diego Padres to a championship. Robert Guillaume plays his dad. It makes no sense. But like any chance they could get to put Gary Coleman out front and center, he was box office, right? But then you had like someone like Meryl Streep, who was like just the most unbelievable, polished, like theatrical thespian that anytime she was in a movie, it would just stop traffic, like Kramer versus Kramer or something like that. Caitlin Clark is both of those things put together. She is Gary Coleman and Meryl Streep in the world of acting in like the 1980s. That's like really, I thought about that this morning. She is so popular. And sometimes popularity doesn't necessarily equal like skills, right? It doesn't necessarily equal steak. It can equal sizzle a lot of times. She is both of those things fused together. And I don't know, and I don't think it's like, this isn't like a negative thing. What I'm saying is like, I just don't believe we've had an athlete that has crashed into a sport and made such a difference, a seismic difference and a seismic impact that I feel like literally all those stories I read, even the one about, like how cool is that, dude? Like seriously, a rising tide lifts all boats. And that's the truth, man. Like, and I think the WNBA is understanding. Sabrina Ionescu talked after their loss about, hey, we are so happy to have her back. And it seems like she's happy. And I feel like the league is kind of getting on board. One thing that I think is a little weird, and I'll wrap up my like opening rant with this because we got actually important stuff to talk about, but this has been fresh on my mind. If you go on ESPN right now, my employer, so I love ESPN, but if you go on their website, their top, like, that thing right here where, let me put it over here and back it up, that like deal, you can't see it, but when you have all the stories that go down, the top headlines, there's nothing about Caitlin Clark, and they have, there's one story buried second from bottom, Angel Reese. It says Skies Reese, second youngest to record a triple-double.
So funny, dude.
It's fun.
It's ridiculous.
There's nothing about Caitlin Clark on there. So I don't understand that either, but whatever. Bear the Truth asked a question, by the way, and I love this because I can see the question. So Scotty is not like the governor of the questions now. I can see him, right? Are Baylor fans seen as apologists for Brittany Griner? I don't think so. I don't think so at all. I think if anything, Baylor fans have actually, maybe because of like the political climate in Texas, I would say the majority of them have kind of backed away from supporting Brittany Griner, which is whatever. I mean, honestly, that is a whole nother topic, and you can agree and disagree, and we can debate. And that's why I think America's awesome. Let's just not get overly negative and start taking shots at people personally, and stop trying to run Brittany Griner out of the goddamn WNBA or basketball in general. That is a message to people who will probably never hear this, but I'm so over that. I am, you know. Let
me end with one comp that I told you I was going to make, and it's not just me making this comp. Let me scroll through my list here. It's Adam Schefter. It's Michael McCarthy from Front Office Sports. It is RG3. It is Chris Riley. It is Clay Travis. It is Colin Cowherd. All of those people, the reason I pulled up this graphic, all those people have made this comp. Caitlin Clark is not Michael Jordan. She is Tiger Woods. Because as great as Michael Jordan was for the sport of basketball, Tiger Woods single-handedly did ratings the way Caitlin is right now for the WNBA and brought attention to the sport, to probably an underappreciated sport like golf, underappreciated sport like women's basketball, which she is doing right now for women's basketball. And I think Nike is about to really platform her. I've heard rumors of like new logo, shoe release, very similar to some of these NBA guys. Like, she is a pioneer in the way Tiger Woods is. Pete, I just named all the people way more influential than me who have that take. What say you to that?
Oh, I think that's an amazing point. And I think that the sustainability will be super interesting to see how long this can last. And I also believe that it's all about like TV or however, streaming, whatever. These games now are on national television, national linear television. Even the game where she missed, where it was the Sky and the Fever, was a primetime CBS game. You know, like I told you, like they told Tracker to take a hike, you know, or Queen Latifah, whoever, the Equalizer. Like, and nobody loves watching Queen Latifah beat the shit out of people more than me. But like that they had to put that on ice because we're going to put the WNBA on primetime television on, you know, one of the premium channels, not premium, but you know what I mean, one of the primetime channels on all of television. That's like amazing. And so all the other women involved, and I think that they are starting to come around to it if they were negative, like these are great opportunities for them. Like you're not playing on the Oxygen Network, dude. You're playing on CBS, right? And like, even if I'm a 6-man on a team, now all of a sudden I have an opportunity to play on a Saturday night on CBS or a Tuesday night and hit a jump shot that the whole world would see, as opposed to hitting a jump shot that would only be seen on, you know, WNBA primetime package. That is, you know, you got somebody like me calling the game. So just enjoy it. Okay. That's all I'll say. Great point from that perspective. WNBA ascend to the popularity. That's a good question. Bear the Truth asks, will the WNBA ascend to the popularity of golf? No. I think the Tiger thing was so, I don't want to be a prisoner of the moment. The Tiger thing was just unbelievable. It was a revolution. And it still goes on. Like, I live in Philly, right up the road. Tiger and a couple guys with deep pockets are building a golf course in downtown Philly that's going to be beautiful, right? And it's going to be accessible to folks maybe with like lower means, but they're still going to work to play like major tournaments there. So that's a cool little project that's underway. I got a little beat on that. But all right, we're going to come back. We're going to talk Cowboys with Matt Mosley. Let's get an expert in here because you haven't had enough of me. But I am an expert on this Caitlin Clark thing. And I'm telling you, she is the most popular athlete, maybe person, in all of America. Nice job by Scotty. Shooting me down there talking about one of his soccer buddies. You can't deny that. All right, the Pete Sousa Show presented by Savatics. We're coming back with Matt Mosley talking Cowboys minicamp. I'm curious to see what Matt took from his doomsday interview with Matt Eberflus. And also, I got an idea for him and Ed Werder going forward. I'll share that with all of you and him on the Pete Sousa Show when we come back.
Nobody tells our stories better than our clients.
The difference is stark. I was rear-ended at a stop. I thought I was fine, and then once I got home, I realized it's a lot worse than I thought. I ended up having a ruptured disc. You say you're not hurting, and then an hour later, you're saying you're in all this pain. I just felt like most people would think that I was lying. And that's when I decided to call Daniel Stark. I owe a lot to Daniel Stark. They really got me what I deserved.
The difference is stark.
We definitely love our relationship and love Extraco. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, what can I do to help you? That made a huge difference because my stress level, when we shut down to afterwards, was night and day.
Our experience with Extraco has been phenomenal since the very beginning. So we love Extraco.
I don't know, if Bubble wasn't here, I don't know what people would be doing, like making PowerPoints or something. Bubble allows you to make it real and for it to actually work. So I feel like Bubble bridges that gap and being able to give people the opportunity to make their ideas come to life really quickly too. I love that I can sit down and build something the way that I think it should be built and have the control over it.
Bubble turns ideas into fully scalable apps. Try Bubble today.
Hi, I'm Jo from Face Theory. You're going to want to have a specific goal for your skincare routine. What do you want to achieve? Active ingredients are really strong, and if you're using too many at once, your skin can get overwhelmed. Don't overspend on products. Choose products that have scientific research behind them. At Face Theory, if you're not happy with a product, just say so, just give us a shout and we'll give you your money back, no problem.
I know you're gonna love this Kodak Dot Plus printer. You guys just connect it to your smartphone and then you're gonna use the Kodak Photo Print app. It's going to print you a 4x6 photo. I am just in awe. I love how these turned out. Also, the printer comes with a free cartridge of 10 photo sheets. I can assure you, you are going to love this printer as much as my family has. You guys have to check it out for yourself.
Streamline event and appointment booking with Amelia's sleek, modern, and fully customizable booking forms. Tailor the colors, fonts, and design to match your brand and seamlessly integrate with your WordPress website. Whether it's for events or appointments, Amelia makes booking simple, stylish, and perfectly aligned with your business. Enhance your booking experience today at WPAmelia.com. That's WPAMELIA.com. Amelia.
When you learn a language with Babbel, you start a journey that takes you further and further. Anytime and anywhere you wish. It's easy and fun. Broadens your horizons and keeps your brain fit. A journey into new thoughts, new cultures, new adventures. So what are you waiting for? Start your journey with Babbel now. Go to babbel.com or download the app.
BadCreditLoans.com is a pioneering service provider that has carved a reputation in the financial industry for its dedication to helping individuals with bad credit secure loans. By making timely repayments, borrowers can gradually repair their credit history, thereby increasing their chances of securing better loan terms in the future. BadCreditLoans.com serves as a beacon of hope for those with bad credit. Simple, fast, and reliable loan application process. And its commitment to responsible borrowing makes it a trusted partner in the journey towards financial stability.
It is the Pete Sousa Show, and he is Matt Mosley, ESPN Central Texas. Doomsday podcast came out over the weekend where he and Ed Werder sat down with Matt Eberflus at the Star, and it was a lot of good intel. Mose, what's happening, brother? Way to go. Scotty, I can't hear him.
Do you not have me?
There he is. There you are. We couldn't hear you first. Now I hear you. You there?
Yeah. You got me okay?
I got you great, Mose.
Good.
Hey, that was a fantastic interview you guys did. I'm obviously not blowing smoke, and I got to learn a lot about the Cowboys and their defense, and also I got to listen to you and Werder go back and forth. Now I got an idea for you, okay? And
yeah,
people are talking about what's going to happen when PTI goes away. Now, I'm not saying we would do a full-on like hard launch with you and Werder doing PTI, but there is some you guys got some Wilbon and Kornheiser vibes that I think we could roll with. I'm serious.
I appreciate it. I think you should let's not promote. Werder's had a great he's been paid a lot of money. Let's promote ourselves, Pete, for these kinds of things. And I think since you have the year of one Brett Yormark in the Big 12, you should let him hear from you. Say, hey, Mosley and I and Swingler kind of have a PTI type show in our minds, and you guys need to roll that out. And we could do some pretty exciting things. So, but I appreciate you saying that.
I'm hot right now with the Big 12, so you're talking to the right guy. But
good.
So, look, I want to go back to that conversation you guys had and the mini camps and your experience there, particularly, obviously, this most recent one. If you were writing a column, right? If the Dallas Morning News, backed up the Brinks truck and they said, hey, Mosley, we want you to write a column about mini camps and your experience this past week at the Star, what would your featured item be? What are you talking about? What's the column coming out of these little off-season meetings that they just had and you had a front row to?
Well, I hope you know that was me sneaking in that. He did not want to talk about the Bears or Caleb Williams, but the news hound in me, I hated not somehow bringing it up. So Ed's known Eberflus for a long time, and he kind of was able to, before we started, go, could I bring it up in this context? And the guy's like, I prefer you not, but I do have an answer. And to me, that was like go time, like not like, oh, okay, we won't bring it up. It was like, you got to get something. And that I knew because of that Caleb Williams controversial stuff about him not having people to watch film with, that needed to get brought up somehow. So anyway, we did get that involved. But that would not be my Cowboys headline. I would probably, I think there were two things. I think it's very interesting that, and I think it's smart of him. This suggests he has been a head coach. He wasn't a great one, obviously, with the Bears because he went 14-32. But him saying that the reason when he had other opportunities to come to Dallas was because of Dak Prescott, I think was revealing on a couple of different layers. I think it was very smart of him to say. I also thought it was I don't know. I probably would write this somehow. I think it was a little poke at where he just left. I think the whole Caleb Williams and his dad experience was probably not a fun one. And hopefully Caleb Williams turns out fine. But I got to think, the Eberflus didn't tell us this, but I got to feel like, especially all that stuff that came out, he's got to have some pretty rough feelings toward Caleb Williams. So I think that was a rebuke of Williams, praise of this quarterback. So I think that's a good place to start. And I think secondly, I thought that he was more revealing. We did a similar type thing with last year's defensive coordinator, Mike Zimmer, at this time, and had a one-on-one with him. And I think Eberflus's, he was pretty candid about how he was going to use Micah. And I think what's interesting is this is a man who's known for that Tampa 2. He's got the Tampa, those great Buccaneers defenses. So you think of Monty Kiffin, Rod Marinelli, that whole gang. He comes from those people, okay?
Let's stop the run. Let's take the ball away. That's
and to be somewhat static, like he's not one for just a lot of exotic looks and moving people all around. He likes to kind of line up and really get good at what they do. And I thought that was interesting because he was basically right away, he said, we've got to continue moving him around. So I think that was a kind of alluding to who he's been in the past and what he knows he needs to do with Micah. But I think he understands that, and I didn't bring this up, but I also think a part of my column would be this is a great situation for the Cowboys and for Eberflus because he has tanked in his head coaching opportunity. All right. It went extremely poorly. But if we think about it, Dan Quinn was an absolute league-wide joke for what happened against the Patriots in the Super Bowl, and then his time fizzled out from there with the Falcons. He rehabbed his image and his career, and then now he's gone on. Now he's looked at as like one of maybe the better head coaches in the league with Washington. So, man, I think there's a lot to this, and I think Eberflus has some great opportunities here. I think the greatest thing, Pete, Scotty, is that this guy is known as the linebacker whisperer. And all these pass rushers / linebackers, the off-the-ball linebackers and the guys that were pass edge, kind of edge-type guys, all of them had their greatest years under Eberflus. So I think that bodes well for a team that has really kind of tried to load up at linebacker, has some very interesting linebackers, including some guys that will be coming back from injury. And so I think that's something to build around, like great pass rush combined with some really good runaround linebackers. And I think that's what Eberflus delivers.
I want to dig in a little bit on the statement you made about because that grabbed me too when he talked about the Jones family and Dak Prescott being two of the reasons.
Yeah,
that's the two things that everybody wants to complain about, are the reasons he says, the main reasons at least, that he came to the Cowboys. Was that PR on his point, or is that real?
Both.
Okay.
Like he's obviously polished enough to know that those are great things to say. I think, as I said, I think it was a little bit of a poke at where he came from, because what he's essentially saying is established ownership, established quarterback needed to get back on firm ground. All right. That's a poke at where he just came from at Chicago, whether he was totally meaning to or not. That's what that is. But also, I do think that people end up loving Jerry, and it's, people fall under the spell of the Jones family, and it is Stephen and Jerry. There's just something that happens, and I think Eberflus probably did feel good about his time here, and probably felt pretty untethered if you think about it. When he left the Cowboys, he thought he was going with Josh McDaniels to the Colts, and then Josh reneged on that gig and ended up, I believe, staying with the Patriots at the time. And so the Eberflus was just out there dangling.
But I believe it was Frank with the Colts, right? I mean,
he did. But Frank Reich didn't even know this guy, and somehow they got him to stay. I mean, maybe it was those daughters. Now I'm finding out those daughters of Irsay. Man, I kind of like this crew. They're down there wearing headsets and stuff.
I know.
I'm afraid that could give Jerry an idea. I mean, I could see Jerry, man, just deciding, you know what? I like that Irsay daughter down there wearing a headset on the sideline. Maybe I need to do that. Well, that sounds like something Jerry would love to do.
Yeah.
Boy, Charlotte is the smartest by far. I mean, she really could. I mean, honestly, if they put Charlotte in charge, I mean, Cowboys might be back in a Super Bowl within 2 years, but they're just don't think they're ever going to do that.
Oh,
but Charlotte, she can get it done. She can get it done. And Gene, with that art, Gene puts a good art collection together. That's a good, solid, some of those art pieces there at AT&T Stadium, some of the best I've seen, even better than some of those museums there in Waco that I can't name. I can't really name.
So look, we go from the luxury box to the owner's box to the art gallery to now back on the field. Micah Parsons. What's the deal?
Wait, hold on a second. Hold on 1 second. I just remembered the name of a Waco museum, the Mayborn Museum.
Oh, that's a nice museum.
Okay. No, I've never been in there. I don't know what they got. Maybe have some dinosaurs or something. I mean, I love a good dinosaur track. They got some of those outside of town. Swingler's, I guarantee, have been out there on doing something because he likes to camp and do weird stuff. But he's been out there to see some of those dinosaurs. Okay, now what were you saying, Pete? I'm sorry, the Micah Parsons.
Yeah, like it seems like he can't help himself, like and can't stay away. Like, but isn't he supposed to be holding out? Like, what's the deal there?
Yeah, one of the worst holdouts I've seen. He's not good at it. He's not wired for it. He doesn't have the stomach for it. He can't stay away. He's already got a house out in Oxnard if this thing doesn't get done. Now, the reporting on this thing and the negotiations have been so weird because, and Clarence Hill's a good buddy of mine, but he used to be a Star Telegram. He's with something called DLLS now, which is some kind of, it's a podcasting group. They got some interesting people there, but Clarence keeps saying there's a meeting of minds on the money, but like the agent, Jerry's supposed to call the agent, but Jerry won't call the agent. And from the surface, it looks like Jerry keeps trying to go straight to the player, and it's something that it's in his playbook. He's done it plenty of times in the past. The agents hate it, but Jerry likes it. I think Micah even doesn't mind it. And I think Micah thinks of himself as great friends with Jerry. But Micah made an interesting point in this last story Clarence had. It was basically like, hey, the money's only going up. And I guess he's heard the number one of these holdouts is looking for from a pass rush. Who am I thinking about, Pete? There's
Cincinnati.
Yeah, Hendrickson, but I thought there was one other guy out there. But anyway, he alluded to hearing the number that somebody else is maybe going to get or trying to get. I mean, I don't think Hendrickson's, that's an ugly situation, by the way, with Cincinnati. I mean, he's tried to show up and actually be kind of nice about it, and they basically locked him out. Now their first round pick's mad because of some clause. People that think the Cowboys are inept, and they are in a lot of ways, I mean, they should take a peek at the Bengals. But you know what the response to that would be? Is the Bengals have been to the AFC title game and the Super Bowl a lot more recently than the Cowboys. I mean, my gosh, that happened within the past 3-4 years.
Yeah.
That the Bengals were there, and the Cowboys Cowboys hadn't sniffed it in 30 years. So anyway, I'm making arguments with myself here, but I think Micah is going to. It'll sign. He'll wait. It'll be the whole last minute thing. But the only difference in him and CD and some of these other holdouts like Zach Martin is he doesn't really love the whole. He is Zeke. Same thing with Zeke. Micah has a very hard time taking a firm stance here. So while this thing gets done, he'll keep showing up.
Okay, well, and that brings me to another question when you talk about the Cowboys as they're getting ready for this season. Offensively, right? Dak Prescott, he's got Pickens, which is great. Obviously, Pickens, by the way, and Micah, same agent, right? So that's interesting. So it's like I think that's why this dude is probably so hell bent on talking to Jerry, because he feels like, well, you got to talk to me. You can't ignore me. Their agent, but. Offensively, when you look at this Cowboys team, with the addition of Pickens, I still feel like Dak has to have a really, really good year for the Cowboys, one, to succeed, and two, I know how much money he's making, but to continue to cement his status as the team's quarterback and future. What are your expectations around Dak Prescott this year? When you think about the additions offensively, and what do you think he'll have to do in order to continue on as the guy who's bearing the torch for this Cowboys team? Well,
I mean, we can say he's got to do this and do that, but I mean, the salary is the money is the money. I mean, he's making $60 million a year. They're gonna keep. It'd be the same thing as any year. Like if he struggles let's say he gets to the playoffs and he struggles mightily again in the playoffs, they can't get out of that contract. They can't move off of it. So it's, I mean, I'm trying to think of a good comparison to like a huge money quarterback. You know, there are plenty out there that you just, at some point they had to dig in and keep riding it out until they finally had to either draft one or cut him. And the Cowboys just, again, they do this to themselves. They did that horrific contract with Zeke. I mean, this Dak thing could end up looking like it already feels like a bad contract. And they're barely into it. So I mean, he's got tons of expectations. He had it when he was making whatever, $40 million. It's even more now with $60 million. I do think, you know, they've eliminated some of the excuses. CD now has help, and you've got a guy on a contract year who's got incredible ability. I mean, you and I've talked about this. The Pickens thing, in some ways, couldn't be any better. I guess you could say, well, he could infect the locker room. Well, I don't even think it's not even really what the Steelers ever talk about. I think he was just more. It wasn't really a locker room thing. I think he was kind of immature on the field. I don't think he was a bad guy. He's young, and he's certainly immature. But, I mean, he and CD form one of – and then, you know, maybe if Ferguson seems to be a decent tight end, and again, they have a better stable of running backs. They're not great, but I would say this is a much, much, much more interesting group of running backs they put together. I think things are set up for Dak. So yes, he needs to be really good, and I think with what they've constructed, he has a much, much better chance of that. Now there'll be some things that we're not even talking about that it comes down to, like can all the Tylers step up? We seem to have more faith in a guy that they just drafted stepping in as a starter than we do at the starting left tackle, and that's scary. Yes. That's scary when you start a season with Tyler Guyton and you're just like, well, we think he's he had some conversations with Tyron Smith and we think he's going to bounce back, and we see some good things from him. I mean, goodness gracious, maybe he'll be better, but that's a scary thing to start with when you basically. And I mean, I think Tyler Smith is really solid, but you're asking this rookie that's stepping in, the new Tyler, you really need him to be like a big time great leader right away. So you lose Zach Martin, who's one of your greatest linemen ever, maybe second only to Larry Allen, and you're subbing this guy in. So again, there's some question marks along that O-line, but again, nobody wants to talk about the O-line. But I mean, I think it's a huge question mark, and I think on the other side, I think the cornerback is really scary. I mean, I think you start the season in really with some thin group of corners. And I mean, you're sneaking a safety up there to play slot corner for you in McQuamu. So it's not. I mean, that's a scary area right now, I would think, for Eberflus and the Cowboys.
And by the way, I don't have enough time to get into all this with you, but if people want to hear more about that, the cornerback situation, the linebackers, how the Cowboys are going to scheme next year to stop opponents, you got to listen to the Doomsday podcast up on the Rogue Media Network. Mosley and Edward are really good job. Last question for you. And I need it in like 30 seconds. You guys were there at the Star. I want you to tell me how the vibes were. How was the energy around the team as compared to last year? Because it seems like, and I can't tell if it's PR smoke, but it seems like everybody's getting along and like the vibes are really good. Can you confirm or deny that?
Well, I kind of spent so much time with Eberflus. I only know about his vibes. I did kind of see some of the players and was around Dak, and there is a tremendous amount of energy, and it seems to be really flowing down from Brian Schottenheimer. So I think all of that is positive, and I feel like it's similar to the vibes between us. And, I mean, I think the only way this thing would have been better is if you let Scotty get a word in edgewise, but we'll save that for next time,
We will save it for next time. All I want to hear at some point, maybe late in the season, maybe in a playoff run, I just want to see Brian Schottenheimer with the team around him. And I want to hear him say, there's a gleam, man. There's a gleam. You know, I need to bring out some more Marty stuff. And then I'll be 1,000% on board.
That's good. Okay. We'll certainly look for that.
All right. Matt Mosley, ESPN Central Texas. You can also catch him on affiliates and radio stations all over Texas and Louisiana. All right, Mose, we'll check you next time, man. Appreciate it.
All my best.
All right, that's Matt Mosley. We're coming back talking Pacers, NBA Finals. We've got our boy Kevin, and we've got the dates. Short break. We'll be right back.
We'll be right back after these quick words from our sponsors. This is Rogue Media Network.
Get ready for epic savings at Best Buy. Right now, you can save up to $700 on select Alienware and Dell gaming products. Perfect for leveling up your gaming experience. Plus, grab the latest Android Google Pixel at an unbeatable price. Don't miss these incredible deals. Shop now at bestbuy.com and upgrade your tech today. Get paid faster with Bill, the easiest way to send, receive, and manage your payments. No more delays, no more hassle. Whether you're a freelancer or a business, Bill makes payments seamless and secure, simple, fast, and reliable. Sign up today at Bill.com. Overwhelmed by your inbox? Clean Email is here to help. Organize, clean, and manage your emails with powerful automation tools. Say goodbye to spam and clutter and enjoy a stress-free inbox. Try Clean Email today at cleanemail.com. That's CLEAN email.com. Easy Sun has been living fearlessly under the sun since 2016. Born from sailors' need for convenient sun protection, our mineral sunscreen is crafted with natural ingredients offering broad spectrum protection against UVA and UVB rays. Safe for your skin and the environment, stay protected on the go with Easy Sun, your ultimate sun care solution. Visit EasySun.com today. That's EEZYSUN.com. Stay connected no matter where you are with eSIM-X. Say goodbye to expensive roaming charges and physical SIM cards. With access to over 200 global carriers, we make mobile connectivity seamless and affordable for travelers worldwide. Join the future of communication today at eSIMX.com. That's ESIMX.com.
And now, back to our show.
Game 5 is tonight, the NBA Finals. By the way, the Pacers are on the road. And I say by the way because the number is still kind of staggering. A 9.5-point underdog against SGA and the Thunder. Let's bring in our boy Kevin Hall. Kevin Hall, All Indiana Sports, is the show. You can check him out on the Rogue Media Network. Kev, what's happening, dude?
Hey, man, how's it going? Sorry I couldn't join you in person today.
What the hell's going on? I can't get to see your face and those long locks of yours.
Oh man, you know what? Gotta do what we gotta do. I heard that you started off the show with the fever and the Caitlin Clark. We talk about that on our show with my wife. Incidentally, she's got some pretty unique takes on that and Angel Reese and all that. So check that out as well if you need your Caitlin Clark effect fixed.
Dude, I mean, I do. So I'll check it out. I'm to a point where I really can't get enough. And I think it's just a super interesting story. And she's a phenomenal just torchbearer for the WNBA and women's basketball. But I got you here to talk about the dudes. And tonight, your team is a 9.5-point underdog. How do you feel about that as a fan and as somebody who watches these games and prognosticates? Like, it's tied 2-2. That's a lot of points, man.
Yes. Well, okay. So the history says that the road team is completely toast if you're 2-2 at this point. No team has come back in the finals, and no road team has come back from a 2-2 point at this point in the finals. Plus, the Thunder do what they do, and they don't lose back-to-back. But guess what? The Pacers haven't lost back-to-back in the playoffs thus far. But at this point, something's got to give. And that something would either be the Pacers win tonight or they got to win at home and then Game 7. It doesn't hurt that the Thunder had the extender come in and help them out a little bit.
Scott Foster.
I mean, he was Tim Donaghy's right-hand man, and I heard that he got called Tim Donaghy by a fan and kicked him out of the game. That's what I heard. I don't know if that's true or not.
I mean, those dudes were really tight. Either they were best buddies or they were sharing information. They would talk before every single game. Like,
yep,
you could guarantee it, right? Like the sun coming up. So there's
exactly.
There's some stuff there. So when you look at the Pacers, last game, I think, honestly, Kev, if the Pacers do fall in this series, that's one that all Pacers fans, even me as somebody who watches with such an interested eye, you shouldn't have lost that game, but you did. That was so winnable. You're at home. You're up late. And Tyrese Halliburton was pretty cool post-game talking about, I love the guy. He was like, hey, that's why you love playing in series and why you love basketball. Next, we got another shot at these guys. What do the Pacers have to do to recover and shake off any PTSD from that Friday night game?
You talk about PTSD, it does seem like that game had shadows of what happened in the Eastern Conference Finals last year against the Celtics, where they just couldn't hold on to the lead late. It seems like this team is better suited to come from behind. We've seen them come from behind in so many instances throughout the playoffs, but that's been in single games. Now they're essentially having to come from behind. Even though the series is tied, they no longer have any advantage at this point as far as home games, so they're kind of having to come from behind as in the series as a whole, which they haven't had to do thus far in the playoffs. The answer is simple. Keep the pace going, keep running, keep playing good team, unselfish basketball. You got to get to the paint and kick. And the real formula that Liam pointed out even before the series started was you got to get to 110 or more, and Tyrese Halliburton has to have a double-double. That is the key to success. They are undefeated when that happens. They are completely defeated if they don't hit 110 at all.
So another number, that's a great nugget right there, by the way. Another number, props to my man Liam. Another number is they're 33-4 this year when Halliburton scores more than 20 points. But at the same time, like, you don't want him to press, right? How, in your mind, is it best that he approaches a game of tonight's magnitude? Does he have to, because we saw it a little bit in Game 3, which they won. I mean, even though he wasn't totally successful early on, he was running and gunning, right? And he was getting involved, almost by design, it seemed like. Obviously being aggressive is important, but how would you like to see him approach tonight's game?
You still got to be the general on the court. You still got to facilitate. You can't be ISO like he was so much in the fourth quarter. I feel like they really felt the pressure unnecessarily, too much, too early. And I think some of that came from maybe some of the calls that slowed the pace down, but that's no excuse. Mathurin missed 3 in a row at the free throw line. You can't use the lack of pace or flow to shut down a game, and that's the simple fact of what happened in Game 4. So you got to continue to play your game. Don't let the Thunder come in and enforce anything on you. You have to still play your game at all costs. Win or lose, you want to go off the court saying, well, we did our best and played the best game that we could collectively as a team. And it's Tyrese's team to run. He meets with Rick Carlisle on a regular basis. In my opinion, one of the greatest X's and O's coach. Actually, that's Popovich's quote to Rick Carlisle. And so it's Tyrese's job to run it on the floor. So he's got to run it.
All right, I got another one for you, and you kind of touched on it, but I was planning on asking you this next. All things being equal and us being transparent, before last game, I took the Pacers were still an underdog in the series. So I was like, you know what? Let me put some couple shekels on the Pacers to win the series. I still feel, I still feel pretty good about it. And one of the reasons I do is because of Rick Carlisle. Like in a series like this, where we have 3 games left, and everybody gets a little tense, a little tight. That's a dude, and this is not a knock on Mark Dagnall. This is a dude that just is terribly underrated, I think, as one of the great coaches in the NBA. How does Rick Carlisle put his thumbprints on these final 3 games, or maybe 2, right? If the Pacers get hot, but how does he have an impact, right? Like as a coach, a dramatic one that will allow his team to win. How does he show just how good he is? Because they need him almost like a 6th guy on the floor,
Right. I think Rick Carlisle is the type of guy that he plays chess while everybody else is playing checkers. And if you're playing chess, he's playing Chinese checkers. Whatever the one up, he is trying to out-gamesmanship you. And that starts with game 1, and it continues all the way through. So I expect to see some subtle changes with lineup and rotations as these games go on, because I wouldn't put it past Rick to be setting Mark Dagnall up in some way, shape, or form. I think that Rick Carlisle fully expected him to go 2 bigs in game 4, and he's going to do something off of that because he was setting Mark up. That's just how Rick Carlisle coaches. He plays the long game, and he plays chess while you're playing checkers.
Yeah, like if I'm you guys, and I feel like I am one of you guys because I mentioned, I'm all in now on the Pacers. That is one kind of wild card deal that I feel very good about. Something I feel, maybe isn't talked about enough with all the pomp and circumstance with the SGA and the Halliburton. The last question for you, what are you most fearful for tonight from the Thunder? And of course, SGA picking up where he left off last game would spell serious trouble for the Pacers. But outside of that, what's your biggest fear tonight that the Thunder would come out and do and really put handcuffs on you guys?
I think the biggest said from before the series, SGA is going to do SGA stuff. There's not a whole lot you can do about that. They've played Nembhard in particular really tough defense. They've done a really good job of pressuring him on the outside, and then when he gets to the lane, they'll back off because they know he wants the call. But then it's the role players. You shut down the role players, and you can't win it by one person alone, and that's the key. That's the thing that scares me is if the role players, specifically Chet, but even more so like some of these other guys, if they have another big game like Aaron Wiggins or Wallace, some of these lesser known, if Dort can get on a hot streak from 3, that's the thing that would concern me from the Pacers' perspective.
All right. I lied. One more. How are we going to wrap up this series? What give me the outcome of this series?
All right. Well, Liam said Pacers in 6. I said Pacers in 7. So if the Pacers are going to win it, they have to do something that the Thunder have been able to hold back since before Thanksgiving, and that is win back-to-back games against the Thunder. And honestly, at this point, I think it's hard-pressed for you to say that the Pacers are going to win the series at this point. But if they do, it will cap the most historic Cinderella playoff run of all time, and I know Scotty's going to love that I said that.
Scotty loves it. Scotty, anything you want to say, by the way? I mean, okay, Scotty's good. We got to go. We're up against time. Kevin Hall. I can't thank you enough, dude. I mean, the podcast, the show is all Indiana sports, and they are all in. Okay? So you're the man. I love, by the way, your name's Kevin Hall because it reminds me of the old wrestling days, like Kevin Nash and Scott Hall. You're kind of combining the two of them, which I appreciate. And I appreciate you, and I appreciate Liam. And we'll say go Pacers for tonight. All right, brother?
All right. Sounds good. Thanks, Pete.
All right. That's Kevin Hall. Man, that was good stuff. I feel like he's coming right off the bench with the Pacers and getting us caught up. But that'll do it for our show. We'll get you caught up tomorrow. We'll still be in Philly. And Scotty will still be just holding it down back in Central Texas. By the way, do me a favor. If you're watching on Twitter right now, there's supposedly 10,000 of you, which I'd like to believe is true. Like and subscribe. I'm telling you, if you watch these videos, you will see that this is. Somebody asked me, what is your show if you had to describe it? I think, as dumb as I am, I think it's a smart show, if that makes any sense. We kind of like go behind the curtain. And I don't think I'm dumb, but there's a lot of stuff I'm not good at. But this is something I actually am good at, and I can take you behind the curtain because of all the experience I have, what I do now, and surrounded by guys like Scotty. So like and subscribe. And we're up to 32,000, I think, subscribers. Remember, we're not even a year old. So this is happening. So get on board. My brother was asking me, he's watching the Alex Cooper documentary, and he's super annoying. He likes to talk about, he calls it my show a podcast all the time, and he knows that I respond, it's a show, dude. And he's like, okay. And then he says, Alex Cooper, everybody, all her, they're the daddy gang. That's a Call Her Daddy podcast. And so now he's messing with me yesterday. Who's your gang? Are you guys the Wolf Pack? Are you Pete's Pack? And I just told him to kick rocks. We're all part of the Pete Sousa family. How about that? All right. And we'll be back with you tomorrow. Scotty Swingler, great job back in the home office. Slovakics, man, forever indebted. We love the partnership. And, of course, Sikora Family Ford. We'll check you out tomorrow. Have a great day.
It's the Pete Sousa Show. Sports.
We definitely love our relationship and love Extraco. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, what can I do to help you? That made a huge difference because my stress level, when we shut down, to afterwards was night and day.
Our experience with Extraco has been phenomenal since the very beginning. So we love Extraco.
Nobody tells our stories better than our clients.
The difference is stark. I was rear-ended at 70 miles an hour. I was injured, had a concussion. The insurance company, they delayed. They were playing games from the initial conversation. They weren't going to help me. The biggest thing I learned through this is that you can't go through this alone. I called Daniel Stark. They were going to help me, and everything was going to be all right. Daniel Stark got me 10 times the insurance company offered.
The difference is Stark.
We are Rogue Media Sports.